What is good, everyone? Welcome to this video. I'm Charlie from Conscious Creation, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the 6th and the 7th mirror principle. If you wish to learn the first 5, I recommend watching my previous 2 videos. So let's start off talking about the 6th mirror principle. So again, everything in your reality is just a big mirror of your internal state. So the 6th mirror principle is to release grip and allow the world to move with the alternative flow. That is to release grip and allow the world to move with the alternative flow. Now, in my previous videos, I share with you what that of inner and outer intention is. Outer intention is the process of selecting what you want through visualization. Now, when you do this, then the universe conspires to help you. Most people use just inner intention, that process of just trying to push, shove, make things happen and force. Now, if you use just pure inner intention through trying to manipulate, trying to force, trying to control things outside of you, is you never really have true control. So when we release grip and allow the universe to help us, that's when we start to gain real control. And this is the purpose of the 6th mirror principle, and that is to learn to release your grip. Because when it comes to this process of identity shifting, and identity shifting is simply changing your own self-image. How do you view yourself? It's like a video game. You're choosing a certain character. But when we choose that character, we need to be detached from it. So this basically means that we are embodying the characteristics. So once you have chosen your identity, you're not so attached to it, because it's the attachment, it's the resistance saying, this is who I am and this is who I must be, and there's no other way of me changing this, is what you resist persists. So choosing who you wish to be, a wealthy person, in a great relationship, having a certain lifestyle, having more freedom, whatever you wish to be, is you need to embody those characteristics, but be detached from it, like you're playing a video game. And this is what allows you to shift timelines so you can actually experience the reality that you want. Now, I'm going to share with you the idea of problems. Now, most problems come from pure inner intention. They come from us trying to control the outcome, trying to control things outside of us. Because when we identity shift and we visualize what we want, whether it be the money, the relationship, whatever it might be, we set about that outer intention. And there's something known as the alternative flow, which we could just say is the universal energy. And the universal energy uses a law known as the law of least resistance. So when you set about that intention, it will organize things in your reality that is the quickest path for you to experience your goals. The quickest path for you to experience your goals. So problems, when you come across problems in your reality, it actually requires more energy expenditure. And this is the difficulty, because when we are always having these problems, it means we're not using the path of least resistance. But the question is, where do these problems come from? These problems come from us trying to control the outcome, because the mind thinks that your way is the best way. This is why it's so important to learn to release grip. Okay, because the mind thinks things have to be done a certain way. So what we want is, when we identity shift, we focus on this process of moving towards our goal, but we allow the universe its own freedom to maneuver things for us. And when things don't go according to plan, we don't freak out about it. We go with the flow and we run with it, because we understand this alternative flow is working in our favor to bring what we want into our reality in the easiest way possible. So let's say we have our stick man or stick woman here. Now around them they have their astral field, and we all have our own astral field. Over here we have the mirror of reality. Now behind the mirror, this is the alternative flow. This is what is giving the mirror the perfect reflection of our internal state. also known as our identity. So when you go through this process of focusing on the person that you would prefer to be, you are shifting your own self-image, you start viewing the world from that point of view. For example, if you want to be a wealthy person, how would you react to everything in your life if you were already a wealthy person? And if things trigger you and you're unable to hold that point of view, can you feel the emotion? Can you release it from your body? When you start to do all of this internal work, okay, you have a different projection out into the world, and the mirror is going to give you this new reflection. Now, the problem is what our mind will do is it will come in and it will try and change the alternative flow. It will try and do the job of infinity. Now, the alternative flow is infinitely intelligent, and it has ways of doing things that our mind possibly can't comprehend. It can't comprehend how is that going to happen. And this is where things become a problem. This is when we try to fight, push and shove and make things happen. We need to realize that our mind can't comprehend how this alternative flow is going to help us in bringing about our goals. So what can we do about this? Every circumstance that we come across that we deem as a problem is a crossroad. It is a crossroad, and how we express our attitude will determine how that problem plays out. For example, if you can express more of a positive attitude towards that problem, it will end up turning into a success. If you see it as a negative, which the mind does, again, because what we deem as a problem is not going according to plan, but it's actually the alternative flows plan, and we see it as a negative, we end up getting taken down a negative path, a negative route, because the mirror of reality is just reflecting your response to what is going on around you. So if you are able to maintain more of a positive attitude in this process, things will just get better and better for you. Now, if you can do this in the long run, so, in the long run, if you continually understand that this alternative flow is helping you to achieve your goals in the easiest way possible, so every problem that you come across, if you can see it through the lens of a positive attitude, things will just get better and better for you. And even what seems like the most unfavorable circumstances will actually start to work in your favor. So this brings us on to the 7th mirror principle, and that is to embrace the reflection as a positive. Embrace the reflection as a positive. You get to decide whether things turn out to be a failure or a success. This is good or this is bad. Remember, the mirror of reality always agrees to you. This is working in my favor. This is beneficial to me. Okay, I've lost my job, but it now gives me more time to find something that I can enjoy more and that is more fulfilling to me. You are expressing a positive attitude to a problem, and the mirror of reality is simply going to reflect this back to you. You need to understand that it's always working in your favor. So whenever things seems to be going to pot, when things aren't going according to plan, remember that it is. And what you deem as bad will end up being your ace cards. Have you ever looked back at things and thought, well, actually going through something that I didn't want to go through ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me? If you can express a positive attitude to every crossroad that you might deem as a negative, this is when miracles start to happen. This is when the mirror of reality will reflect your positive attitude to it, because the mirror of reality always works in unexpected ways, and it's not something you can get used to, because there's no way that your mind can comprehend how infinity can do things. It can't comprehend it, and it can always turn failure into success in amazing ways, and it can do it very quickly. So what we want to do is we want to use our willpower to see the benefit or the favor in every problem that comes up in our reality. And I know this sounds like wishful thinking, but it's not. It's how you create your reality. It's known as the intention of the maker, your own intention. Your intention is seeing the positive in each situation. Now, this requires your willpower. You need to build up that momentum to understand that we live in a loving universe and that it's always going to take care of you and look after you. So you must see the positive in each situation, because what you think of as bad is actually working in your favor. So again, we are working on moving ourselves towards our goals. Okay, we are focusing on this step-by-step process, which is that of inner intention to create our reality, but we're also allowing the world its own freedom to change things along our path if it needs to, and we don't fight it. And we see everything that happens as a positive. Let's say, for example, we have this graph here. Now, in my previous videos, I shared with you that the mirror of reality responds with a delay. So it takes time before your reality starts to show up for you. So when you are doing this internal work, you have shifted your identity. You are focusing on what you want to create in your reality. You are viewpointing the world through a certain lens. For example, if you want to be wealthy, you are seeing and reacting to everything in your reality as a wealthy person. You are making these internal changes. Now, let's say you feel positive, you feel excited, you are in the process of creating your new reality, and you're like, I'm really excited, this is going to be amazing. But maybe, let's say, a couple months in, things aren't showing up for you. The money isn't showing up. That relationship isn't showing up. Things aren't changing in your lifestyle, and you're a bit like, crap, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? This isn't good. What am I going to do about it? And we end up getting down here. And this is normally when we feel like giving up. This is like when we don't want to do it anymore. We say, this isn't for me. But it's usually, you'll find that when you feel like giving up, this is when things start to actually work for you. And this is mainly because we take our focus off the mirror. We stop focusing on things outside of us in the hope of change. When you feel like giving up, you are actually letting go. And this is what allows the universe to start bringing things in your reality. But when you feel like giving up, this is when stuff starts to show up. So, hey, my lifestyle's starting to change, or I'm starting to earn more money. This is great. This is working. Now here we have the mirror of reality, but with a delay. So here is reality, but it's responding with a delay. So because we had that internal state of feeling positive, we were shifting our identity, we were excited for it for an extended period of time, we were doing the inner work, the mirror of reality must reflect this back to us. So this is why when we felt like giving up, the mirror of reality responded here, and this is why things started to work for us. This is why we got this feeling and this process in our outer world of things starting to work for us. But because we had this dip in our reality, things aren't working for me, this is bad, this is negative, you then have that dip in the delay of the mirror, because we weren't able to sustain an internal state, because we were judging every problem as bad. So the question is, how can we maintain a better internal state so this mirror of reality, things just get better and better? Again, we need to use the 7th mirror principle. Embrace any reflection as a positive. See any problem as a positive, and it will get better and better for you. And because, again, the mirror responds with a delay, this is why our reality is known as the reality of confusion, because it has this delay effect. But if you can keep a positive internal state, when the mirror starts to show the positivity and the internal state that you have held, things will get better and better and better, and your reality will start to get so much more in your favor. And then when your outer world is showing you have the wealth, you have the relationship, you have the lifestyle, you don't need to do so much of this internal change within yourself, because you're just going to be bombarded with all of these good things happening in your reality. So you don't need to do as much of this inner work, because you are naturally going to feel good because all of this stuff is happening around you. Let's say we have a businessman, okay? And his internal state is dependent upon his sales. If he makes lots of sales, he feels good. If he doesn't make a lot of sales, he feels bad. His internal state is, I only feel good if I'm if I'm making these sales and he's got this yo-yo state within himself, hence the mirror of reality is going good, bad, good, and bad. Or let's say you have someone who wins the lottery. You hear it all the time. People who win the lottery often lose all of that money because that internal state doesn't match that kind of wealth. I mean, that type of wealth is simply a vibration, and they haven't programmed their internal state for that kind of money, hence why they actually end up losing it a lot of the time. So the key to maintaining this positive internal state is to realize once we have shifted our identity, that the alternative flow is going to bring us the goal through the law of least resistance. So anything that we come across as a problem, if we can express a positive attitude to it, the mirror of reality is going to reflect this back to us. So we need to focus on how we react to things by using our willpower. Things will get better and better for you.